Here I am at Hereke Oriental warehouse in Alexandria, Virginia. You know, one of the questions that I get periodically, very, very special rugs are the Hereke rugs. They're just wonderful. The construction is great, they're beautiful, they're very, very fine, very supple rugs. It's a real connoisseur's rug. But one of the problems is, the one on the left is a real Hereke. The one on the right is a Chinese copy. So how do we tell the difference? Now, I commented earlier that the Turkish Herekes generally have a slight gold cast to the warps, and that the Chinese copies have whiter silk and usually thinner, a little bit. You really have to compare to feel the difference, but the Chinese tend to have use a lighter silk. One of the other things is, let's get close in on one of these and take a look at the selvages, because the selvages is an area where you can spot some of the difference. Now, looking at the real Turkish Hereke, we can see on the side the selvage is a 4-cord selvage overwrapped in silk, and that's typical of the Herekes. We also see that in the Turkmen rugs. You know, we have to keep in mind that the Turkmen and the Turks of Turkey come from basically the same ethnic stock. They all swept out of the Altai Mountains years and years ago, came into Central Asia, Turkmenistan. They split over Islam. Now, they all ended up adopting, or most of them ended up adopting Islam sooner or later. But the Turkmen adopted Islam a little bit later. The other ones who adopted Islam earlier swept out across Persia and in. So we see clues to their Turkmen heritage inside many of these rugs. But here we see the 4-cord selvage on the side, giving it just basically a thin skirt along the edge. This is something we look for in an authentic Hereke Turkish rug. Going over now to a Chinese Hereke copy. These are wonderful rugs. You can't take anything away from them. I mean, they're great rugs. You expect a real Hereke in a similar quality and size to cost 2.5 times as much as a Chinese copy. So it's important, even though the Chinese copies get quite a good price. I mean, they're not inexpensive rugs at all. They aren't the same, and so you want to make sure that when you're buying one of these, you're getting something that's authentic. And here, when we get down to the side, we don't see the flat 4-cord selvage. We see a 1-cord selvage, and it's noticeably different. So it's one of the things that when we get these side by side, we can see that there's a fundamental difference. The Chinese tend to copy Hereke and Kum and mix the two. So the selvage on a Hereke Chinese copy is much closer to a Persian Kum silk rug. So when we come over here and we get a look at the selvage, we can see that it's a much wider selvage, and that's another identification clue. Thank you.